अमृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमंगलं श्रीमदादतं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः। ओम स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमश्रुतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। My salutations to the feet of Bhagwan Shri Ramakrishna Dev, Ma Sharda Devi and Swami Vivekananda, the Holy Trinity, and my love and namaskars to all of you, dear friends. It's a great pleasure meeting you all. Only a few days back I was talking to Sapnaji and I was telling that I have a great desire to come to Houston. Last time I could not come during my first visit to USA in 2010. At that time, for 6 weeks I was in USA, but I was concentrating mostly on the places where Swami Vivekananda stayed. And Swamiji did not come to Houston, so I also did not come to Houston. But now Swamiji has come to Houston, so I am coming here. Swamiji has not come in physical form, but in his fine form he has come. As a part of the 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, he is going everywhere now. Wherever he could not go physically, he is going mentally. He is going in a fine form. So now that Houston has already hosted so many events in honor of Swamiji, Swamiji is present here, so I must come. So I was telling that 99% I will come. It was going on to 99%, suddenly it became 1%. But now it has become 100%, I am here. Because there were so many uncertainties. Actually, I was to come to USA for a program organized by Indian Council of Cultural Relations, Government of India, as a part of 150th birth anniversary. There are many programs that are being organized by the Government of India in many countries. So they wanted to organize an event in Chicago, an international seminar on Swami Vivekananda. So they requested me to become the academic coordinator. I agreed. I gave the proposal. And I suggested that when it is in Chicago, why not on 9/11? That is, why not on 11th September? So, and why not in the same art institute where the historic event took place? And I gave in my preface that Swami Vivekananda delivered his historic message of the harmony of religions in that historic Parliament of Religions in Chicago on 11th September 1893. That was also 9/11. And because we did not follow his message, so there was another 9/11 exactly after 108 years. And the World Tower, World Trade Center, New York, that got destroyed. Yesterday I was in New York at the same place, Ground Zero. Now they have converted into a beautiful fountain, both the places. Both the Ground Zero are having fountains now, if you have visited. And a big museum is coming up. Of course, some small museums have already come up on 9/11, and a big museum is still coming up. It will be declared open in 2014. I was at that historic site. So the Government of India liked the idea, and they were going to have the event on 9/11, that is on 11th September this year. But somehow or other, for various reasons, the event was postponed. But in the meanwhile, I had already committed a few programs in Houston. I had told already that I will 99% I will come, and also in New Jersey, and also there is going to be an international conference on interspirituality, that is at Mount Vernon at Cascadian Center by the Satyana Institute. That was also a major event. So everywhere I had almost committed. So, but the main event itself was postponed. So that is how I was uncertain for a long time. again the whole procedure has to undergo, to go for the permission and then to go for the visa and all that. Finally, I got the visa also, I got the permission also, and so how it is I here. Now I am here. One of the main, as Sapnaji told, one of the main reasons why I was very eager to come was not only because I heard that there's a beautiful temple that has come up in Houston Center, and also many events are taking place in connection with Swami Vivekananda by Sharad Bhai and others and the other organizations, but one of the main reasons was a very close friend of ours, Sri Chiman Bhai Patel, Chiman Bhai Desai, C.D. Desai. He's been close to us from a long many years, and he said he is not keeping well, so he will not be able to come to India. 3 years back he had come, at that time we met. So that was one of the reasons that he was not keeping well, and I thought that I must meet him in USA. So that is how I was very eager to make it from 99% to 100%. And it has happened, and so I am very happy to be here. And I came here on 13th of this month. 14th I spent the day in Ridgely Manor. Somehow or the other, last time it so happened during my last visit that I started my tour with Ridgely Manor, where Swami Vivekananda stayed, as you know, for 10 weeks, the highest, longest duration in America. Then again, I did not want to go to Ridgely Manor. I had already told them, and yet it so happened that before going back to India from USA, again I had to go to Ridgely Manor. This time I told Shuddhatma Prana. Pravrajaka Shuddhatma Prana is from Ridgely Manor. She was there in India. We had organized an international youth conference on 10th and 11th of August. And so, since she was in India, I said that you must stay back for the International Youth Conference. So she was there with us for a few days. So she was very eager that I should, when I'm going to USA, I must visit. I said, no, I have finished my quota of Ridgely Manor, and so I will not be able to make it, and I have got only 3 weeks with me, out of which 1 week goes to Seattle, 1 week goes to Houston, 1 week goes to New Jersey and New York area. So I think I will not be able to make it. But it so happened that my program for 14th, that is on Saturday, she got shifted to Sunday, 15th. So I was free, and so I could make it. So I was at Ridgely Manor, that historic place where Swami Vivekananda himself stayed. And then 15th I had 2 programs, one in the morning and one in the evening. Evening was Vivekananda Vidyapith in New Jersey. As you know, Mahendra Bhai Jani is doing wonderful work in educating the children, giving them spiritual education along with the other type of education. And in fact 55 of them were there, students, teachers and parents from Vivekananda Vidyapith for the International Youth Conference. So actually there were 600 from 24 countries in that International Youth Conference, but the biggest chunk was from USA, 55, and all from Vivekananda Vidyapith. So I had to return my visit them, and then again I delivered lecture there, and then we had long question answer session with the students. So it went on till 10 p.m. on 15th. 16th I went to Cherry Hill. There was a program at Cherry Hill, and then 17th I spoke at the Vedanta Society in New York. And today I am here in Houston. I'm very happy. I will be here for about a week. 28th I will be in Dallas, and then 29th go to Seattle. From there go to Cascadian Center, where that International Interfaith Spirituality Conference is taking place. And then from there, that is from Cascadian Center, come to Seattle, our center, Vedanta Society of Seattle, that spend the whole day there on 5th, and then 6th morning I'll be again in New York. There are some programs in Long Island on 6th and 7th, and then 8th I will fly back to India. So that is the program. So Houston gets a very big chunk, 1 week. This time I have compensated. Last time I could not come. This time 1 whole week I am here. So it's a beautiful shrine. I am very happy. I heard that there is a beautiful temple. It will be so beautiful I didn't imagine. Very beautiful temple and very good environment, very nice ashrama. I thought it is not only society, but it's a full-fledged ashrama, you can say, from the beautiful campus. So it's a full-fledged ashrama, so to say. So I'm very happy to be here, and we will have 1 full week. I think tomorrow they are going to have, a topic they have given me is management of everyday life, which will include management of mind and management of time and management of stress and all that. But today I have been told to speak on the magic of the gospel. All of you are devotees, most of you, and so you have been reading the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, so what I say may not be new to you, but it's very good to again dwell more and more on the salient points of the gospel in order to imbue our mind with the thoughts of the gospel and also the master Sri Ramakrishna Dev. You know how in the beginning itself, Master Mahasaya has given one shloka from the Bhagavata. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Shri Badadatam Bhuvi Gidantiye Bhuridajana. Actually speaking, this is a shloka from the Bhagavata, Gopika Gitam. As you know, there was the scene is like this, that Sri Krishna was doing Ras Lila with the gopis. And Gopikas, they were feeling very great joy, and a very subtle type of ego entered into their heart. Oh, we are so fortunate. Compared to others, they haven't got this privilege. And you know, when the ego comes, Lord does not remain. Prema gali ati sakri tame dona samay. You know, the lane of love is very, very small, very narrow. Only one person can remain at a time. So either the Lord will remain or my ego will remain. As soon as a small ego came, Lord disappeared. Shri Krishna disappeared. And the Gopikas became very, very restless because of the absence of Shri Krishna, and they went on asking the trees, have you seen our Lord? Have you seen our Krishna? Have you seen our Kanhaiya? We are without any life without him. And so they started weeping. And whatever at that time they have spoken, their feelings of the heart, that whole thing is called Gopika Gitam. This shloka is a part of that Gopika Gitam. Tava Katha Amritam. It is told about Shri Krishna. Gopika is telling Tava Katha Amritam. O Lord Krishna, your words are like nectar. Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Shri Madadatam Bhuvi Ginantiye Bhuridajana. But this shloka has been quoted by Master Mahasaya, the author of the book Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, in the beginning. How apt it is, because like these words of Sri Krishna, the words of Sri Ramakrishna are also like nectar. Tava kathamritam. Your words are like nectar. Amritam. Tapta jivanam. Those who are suffering, most of the people are suffering in the world. Sometimes there is happiness, but most of the time it is unhappiness. So happiness and unhappiness come by turn. Most of the people are suffering at one stage or the other, for one problem or the other. So tapta jivanam, most of the people are already scorching under the suffering. So for such people who are suffering, these your words are like nectar, which gives solace to the past hearts, which gives solace to the suffering people. Tava kathamritam, tapta jivanam, kavibhi riditam. It is, and your words have been eulogized even by the great people. Kalma shapaham. It removes all the blemishes of the heart. Such are the nectar-like words, O Lord Shri Krishna. Gopika says, and the same thing can be told about the words of Sri Ramakrishna. And actually Kathamritam is the name of the book given by Master Mahasaya. And then Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhi Riditam Kalma Shapaham Shravana Mangalam. Mangalmaya. It's very auspicious to listen to these words. It's very auspicious. Shravana Mangalam. Bhuvi Gidantiye Bhuridajana. They are very, very fortunate who are taking that nectar of your speech. That is the shloka of the Bhagavata quoted by Master Mahasaya M. He used to call himself M. Mahendranath Gupta, but he used to give the pseudonym M. He wanted to hide himself. So he was a very humble man. Out of his humility, he did not want to be broadcasted, his name to be broadcasted. So he gave the name M. So written by M, he gives this sloka which is very apt. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalma shapam Shravana Mangalam Shri Madadatam. And it is very, very vast. Very vast. In fact, Kathamrita also very vast. So many scenes are there. More than 200 scenes. More than 200 people. They come into that dialogue during the Kathamrita. So during the whole gospel, the conversations. Sri Madadatam Bhuvigadantiya Bhuridajana. And they are very much blessed who partake of this Amritam. And what does Amrit take place? What does Amrita mean? Amrita means nectar. Once you get the nectar, you become immortal. You get new life. And this is what happens when one reads Kathamrita or the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. How it is all about. Let us, so first of all, the manner in which this Kathamrita, the background under which Kathamrita takes place. Master Mahasaya Mahendranath Gupta M. He was a master. Why he was called Master? Because he was a master. He was a teacher in Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar school. So that is why people used to call him Master Mahasaya in Bengali. That is means a teacher. So Master Mahasaya Mahendranath Gupta M. He had a lot of problems in his family. And once it came to such a pass that he got frustrated and he thought the only solution for him was to commit suicide. Fully frustrated. And suddenly he had to leave his family. It was a joint family. So it came to such a pass that he had to leave the house without any money, along with his wife and children. He had to leave the house. So he left the house in a horse carriage, not knowing where to go. In the late evening, Somehow the horse carriage, one of the wheels came out. And that time they were passing through Baranagar area of Kolkata. It was in Kolkata. So now what to do? So Master Mahasaya took shelter at dead of night, where to go. So took shelter in his cousin's sister's house in Baranagar. Next day morning, the son of his sister, Siddheshwar Majumdar, Sidhu, he told Mama, maternal uncle, there is a beautiful temple of Mother Kali, Dakshineshwar. Would you like to go there? He said, I am least interested in any god or goddess. First of all, he was a member of Brahma Samaj. So he never believed in form, God with form or in image worship. Moreover, he had already this type of suffering and he left and he had lost all his faith in God. Nothing doing. I don't want to go to any temple. Then Sidhu said, but there is a beautiful garden by the side of the temple near Ganges. Now, Master Mahasaya was poetical by nature. So he liked the natural scenes, Ganges, river, trees, garden. So, okay, let us go to the garden. So he came to the garden. Now when he came to the garden of Dakshineshwar by the side of the river, he saw one small room where some people are entering, coming out and going. What is that? That is the room where Sri Ramakrishna stays. Who is Sri Ramakrishna? Oh, he is the worshipper of this Mother Kali temple. He stays there. So out of curiosity, he just went to the room. But he did not go inside. He just peeped in. And he saw Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on a cot and some people were sitting on the floor and he was talking to them. A little interesting. So he went inside and sat in a corner. That's all, gone. After a few minutes, he got so much a peace of mind that all his decision of committing suicide were gone out of the veins. And then he said, what? I was committing suicide. Here is such a great man available in the world. And then he felt that as if Shukadeva was expounding Srimad Bhagavata. Such type of words he felt coming out from the mouth of Sri Ramakrishna. And he felt so much solace, so much a peace of mind. At the end of after some time when Sri Ramakrishna went for meditation, he just offered his salutations. And then Sri Ramakrishna just asked some few things as a matter of formality. And then Sri Ramakrishna said, come again. In Bengali and Gujarati, both the places, both the languages, there is one word. Whenever you go, they will not say you go. They will say aujo in Gujarati. And in Bengali also they will say esho. They will not say jao. They will say esho. So, Sri Ramakrishna said esho. Avar esho. Again come. Whole night he could not sleep. Again tomorrow I have to go there. Again next day morning again he was there in Dakshineshwar. Third day again he was there. Third day when he was there, Sri Ramakrishna at that time was talking to the young disciples. Narendranath, a college student who later on became Swami Vivekananda, and other disciples. They're all college students. And he was making fun. With the youth, he became a young person. And he was cutting jokes and laughing, and a lot of fun was going on. And as soon as Master came, Sri Ramakrishna said, you see, the peacock has already come again. Peacock, one person, then he said one peacock was given some opium by a person. So at the appointed time, the peacock will come for taking that opium. So he has got also intoxicated. For the opium he is coming. And Master said, yes, it is nothing less than opium. It is so intoxicating. The talks are so intoxicating. It is nothing less than opium. Anyway, So he sat down and he started coming. He got so much peace of mind. His resolution of ending his life ended. Then he started coming more and more. And he had a habit, whatever conversations Sri Ramakrishna had with the devotees, he would write down in his diary, in his characteristic shorthand style. It was not shorthand, in his own characteristic shorthand. If you read the diary, you will not be able to make up anything. It is very briefly it has been written. But he wrote down on the same day. That is the beauty. Now one day, after many days, Swami Vivekananda suddenly he saw that diary. Master said, so many important teachings of Sri Ramakrishna are there. Why don't you publish it? Master said, no, it is meant for it's my personal diary. Why should I publish it? It is for my sake that I have written. No, you must publish it for the public good. Once Sarada Devi, Holy Mother, she was listening to these conversations from the diary. And she told, I felt as if Sri Ramakrishna himself is speaking. So encouraged by this, Master first of all brought out a leaf, in a leaf form, a few pages in English originally. And Swami Vivekananda, when he read this, he was in raptures. He was so happy, overjoyed, and he gave a very, very encouraging letter to Master. Master, now I feel why none of us attempted this. It was reserved for you, this great work of writing the great teachings of the Master. Wonderful. And then he says, Socratic dialogues are Plato all over, but you are entirely hidden. It's really that a great personality's words come to the humanity without getting tarnished by the language or by the feelings of the writer. And this is what you have done. It's a rare piece. So we encouraged by this. Then he started writing the book in Bengali, the full book, which came out in 5 volumes. The first volume he wrote in Bengali, and it was published in 1902. As it happens in India, whenever somebody does some new work, there are many people who appreciate and many more who start pulling the legs. So similar thing happened, many criticized, many appreciated, many criticized. Now because of that, he got very much disturbed. And so he stopped. He said, I will not publish the other volumes. One day, was sleeping, Sri Ramakrishna came to his dream. And he appeared and he said, why do you worry? I am with you. Why do you worry? And that gave him assurance. And then he started publishing more volumes. And then all these 5 volumes came out in Bengali, first of all. Of course, the English one had come, that was a small portion, originally written by Master Maharshi. But these were all the 5 volumes in Bengali. Then Suryakant Tripathi Nirala, the famous writer in Hindi, he translated that book into Hindi. Then it was translated into Gujarati and Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, Uriya, Marathi, various languages got translated. Then it got translated into English. In the name of the book became The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Then it was translated into German, Greek, Russian, French, Spanish, Dutch, Japanese, so many languages, and thousands of copies have been published, have been distributed, and so many people over the period of time, more than 100 years, they are getting solace and peace. Now, according to Indian copyright restrictions, when the author dies, after 50 years, the copyright restrictions are gone. Master Mahashaya had died in 1932. 1982, the copyright restrictions will be gone. After his death, his descendants, they used to bring out all the 5 volumes of the Kathamrita in Bengali from Kathamrita Bhavan. Those who are old devotees, they must have known, there were 5 volumes, and it costed at that time 70 rupees, 5 volumes, one full set, 70 rupees. So now that the copyright restrictions were over, going to be over, one publisher said, pre-publication price, if you deposit 60 rupees now, on the day when the copyright restrictions are gone, we will publish. Before that we can't publish. That day you will get it at only 60 rupees, but you must pay now. Another publisher said, we will give all the 5 volumes only in 50 rupees. Third one said 45 rupees. Then somebody said, we will make it into 2 volumes, all the 5 volumes into 2 volumes, whole thing, but in 2 volumes, and we will give it at 35 rupees. Likewise it went on. Ultimately one publisher said, we will all give it in one comprehensive volume, one big volume, all in one volume only, in thin paper, and we will give it at 18 rupees. Ultimately 16 publishers, they entered the fray, competition. And later on, the day that copyright restrictions were over, there was a stampede in Kolkata for getting this volume of Kathamrita. Then an English journal in India, that is the name of the journal is The Week, it brought out a special issue with the front cover having 2 photographs on the front. One the photograph of Sri Ramakrishna, another the photograph of Karl Marx. And the heading that was given is, Sri Ramakrishna outsells Karl Marx. And inside story it was told that only in 45 days, after the copyright restrictions were gone, within 45 days, 2.5 lakh copies of the Kathamrita at the cost of 45 lakhs of rupees were sold only in 45 days, only in Kolkata, whereas the sell of the whole Marxist literature, Karl Marx complete works used to be brought out in very, very cheap price, almost throwaway price. And many used to take them free of cost and sell them and get the money, little money. So much it was cheap. The sale of the whole Marxist literature for the whole of the West Bengal for the last 3 years was less than the sale of only one book for 45 days. And so it said, Sri Ramakrishna outsells Karl Marx. And then it said, that time, now only for 35 years there was Communist Party ruling the West Bengal, as you know. The writer said, it's a paradox how religious books are thriving under the red flag. Red flag, according to communists, the religion is an opium. How religious books are thriving under the red flag is a great enigma, it's a great paradox. And then the last comment was, it is perhaps that the Bengalis like to have Jyoti Basu rule in the writers' building, secretariat, but inside their heart they want Krishna and Ramakrishna to rule. So that is how Sri Ramakrishna outsells Karl Marx came up, and it brought about a great record, and so many people have been getting solace out of this book. And as you know, it started with it is Kathamritam. It is like a nectar which gives new life in both the senses. It gives a new life of peace, new life of spiritual enrichment, but more than that, even literally it gives new life. How? As Master wanted to commit suicide, but he got so much of peace of mind by coming in contact with Sri Ramakrishna that He himself was saved from committing suicide. But who knew at that time that this was the beginning of the process of ending of many lives? Many have been stopped, many have been saved from committing suicide by reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. You know, Sri Ramakrishna had 16 direct disciples whose photographs are here. They are all sannyasin disciples. Apart from that, he had many household disciples. So, one of the household disciples was Purna Chandra Ghosh. Sri Ramakrishna loved him very much. When he was a school boy, that time Sri Ramakrishna used to go to his school. He was in the Master school just to meet Purna. He was so eager to meet him. You can imagine how much he loved Purna. So that was Purna Chandra Ghosh. But his parents did not want that he should become a monk, so they got him married, and they were being given warning also that he is not meant for marriage. If you get him married, he will undergo a lot of suffering. But still they did not listen, got him married, and really it happened. His life was miserable. Purna Chandra Ghosh's life was so miserable that ultimately he thought that the best way is to commit suicide. Now, before committing suicide, let me take a few words, the nectar of the words of Sri Ramakrishna. So, there was on the terrace of his house, there was a small shrine. He went there and he thought, I will end my life after reading a few pages from the Gospel. Just taking the name of the Lord, taking the words of Sri Ramakrishna, I'll end up my life. So, he was not interested in reading Gospel, mind you. He was interested only in having a few words of Sri Ramakrishna before ending his life. And it was a great, strange coincidence that he took up the Gospel, and he is not to read from beginning to end or whatever it is. He just opened whatever page it came, he will read a few words. As soon as it opened, the page which opened, and he started reading, the first sentence he read was, Sri Ramakrishna is loving Purna Chandra Ghosh very much, and he is constantly praying to the Divine Mother for the spiritual welfare of Purna. My God! The incarnation, God himself is praying for me, and is loving me so much, and I am committing suicide. Down with it. Gone. He got so much solace. And it is strange coincidence that the same sentence came after opening the book. There was a monk in Trivandrum many years back. One day, one gentleman came and he asked about some monk. He wanted to meet him. He told about the pre-monastic name of that monk. Then monk said, what is the matter? He said, I am now fully tired of my life, and now I want to end my life. But before ending my life, I thought, let me meet that person, that old, very, very pre-monastic, this one, my brother, who left many years back and became a monk. So I thought, let me meet him and then end my life. And then he said, I want to meet him. Then he said, I am your brother. Because the dress is changed, and many years back he had left, so he could not recognize that he was talking to his brother only, his pre-monastic brother. Then he said, what is the matter? Then he said, now it is enough is enough. Actually the story is like this, that he was from a wealthy family, but he joined the Communist Party in Kerala, and he sacrificed all his wealth, all his money, all his time, everything he sacrificed for the Communist Party. But when the Communist Party came to power, it did not do anything for him. Now he was without money, and he was completely without any care. By the time he had entered married life also, and there were so many problems in his family. One is financial problem plus so many other problems. With all that, he got frustrated and he was contemplating suicide. Then his brother, that is the monk, said, you see, you do whatever you want to like, I cannot come in your way. But I can request you one thing, before you go for death, you just read one book I will be giving you. And he gave him the book, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. After a few days, that person wrote to his brother, that monk, that I have changed my thoughts. I did not do anything, did not commit suicide. I have got so much of peace of mind by reading the book, the Gospel. And he was saved from suicide. The same Swami, another person came. He was a colonel. He came and he said, my major, my subordinate, he is a major of NCC. He was a colonel in NCC. So that major, NCC officer major, he now and then says, I will end my life, I want to commit suicide. Perhaps there was some problem about his marital life. And he has got a gun with him. Anytime he can do anything. So I am very much scared. So why don't you talk to him? I will bring him one day. And if you talk to him and if you dissuade him from committing suicide, that will be better. That monk said, you see, what is the fun of my talking to him? He doesn't know me, I don't know him, whether he will listen to my advice or not, I do not know. But anyway, you do one thing. I am giving this copy of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. You tell him to read this book. And then later on, whatever he wants to do, let him do. But tell him one thing, that if he commits suicide, nothing is going to happen. The earth will go on rotating the sun as it was used to rotate. And nothing is going to happen, but it is a cowardice to commit suicide. You give this message and give this book. Then the colonel reported that the NCC major, after reading the Gospel, says, even if the whole world tells me I am not going to commit suicide. The whole change took over place. And so there are many such incidents that by reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, not that you get the nectar, kathamritam, by the nectar of the words of Sri Ramakrishna, of the Lord, not only that you get new life, new spiritual life, but actual new life. That is, many have been saved from committing suicide. There are so many incidents. It's very strange. I wrote an article in Vedanta Kesari with the name The Magic of the Gospel. And later on, when I was the editor of Gujarati monthly Sri Ramakrishna Jyot in Rajkot for 10 years, that time I wrote an editorial on the same topic in Gujarati. Afterwards, 3 persons, they reported to me that they were saved from committing suicide by reading that article on Kathamrita. One girl, she was at that time doing MSc microbiology, very brilliant girl, beautiful girl, but she had a lot of problems. She had some problem, whatever it is. So she thought that only solution is committing suicide. So she took a lot of drugs, that is sleeping drugs, and she will just consume it and enter into eternal sleep. She kept it in the drawer. She was waiting, it was night about 11 o'clock. She was waiting when the brothers, younger brothers, they were watching TV. So when they stopped watching TV, then when she is alone, she will consume the drugs and she will enter. Now what to do till that time? She is sitting on the chair, there is a table there, she is waiting for that the children, they stop seeing TV and then she consumes. Now there was the journal Ramakrishna Jyot monthly. On that very day it had come. So it was on the table. So only to pass the time, she just took up the journal. And it was my editorial. And there it came like this, that by reading the Gospel, so many were stopped from committing suicide. My God, I am reading the Gospel and yet I am thinking of committing suicide. So she took up the Gospel and she got peace of mind and she was saved. Likewise, two more incidents took place. By reading not the only gospel, by reading the article on the gospel, some were saved from committing suicide. That is the magic of the gospel. Then later on, I got transferred to Porbandar. I am here in Baroda for last 8 years. Before that, 8 years I was in Porbandar. Before that, I was in Rajkot. When I was in Porbandar, every Sunday I would take class on Kathamrita. Now I am taking in Baroda. That time I used to take in Porbandar. Class on Kathamrita, Gujarati at that time. So, afterwards one lady reported to me. Not immediately, after some time she reported to me that she used to come for Sunday lectures. That was her sort of, routine. Now, one Sunday when she was coming, before that, her husband was a drunkard. And he was a truck driver. So, and he used to beat. Whenever he would drink, he will beat his wife. And she was just undergoing all that suffering without telling anybody, as it happens with many Indian women. But that day he just cut his head with so much of beating that he got bleeding from the head. And so it was too much. So she thought that now enough is enough. The only solution is suicide. So she told me that she purchased a 1 tin full of kerosene, kept it ready, and she thought, let me take the blessings of the Lord. Today is Sunday evening class. Let me take the blessings of the Lord, shrine, go to Ramakrishna Ashram, take the blessings of the Lord, and attend Kathamrita class. And after coming, 1 tin is ready, and full fire and over. And I do not know why it so happened. That day, I narrated all these incidents, how people were just saved from committing suicide. I did not know that she has come with the idea of committing suicide. But it so happened that day I narrated, and she thought, I am going every Sunday for Kathamrita class, and I am thinking of committing suicide. Nothing doing. And that kerosene remained as it is. And she is still alive. But later on, the later story is still more very encouraging, that then afterwards she narrated to me these things. I said, you should have told me these problems. I said, how to tell about my own husband, how to complain again. I said, but when you are coming here to the Lord, you tell your Lord, you pray like that. Anyway, then I said that you bring him one day, I will try to talk to him. No, he will never come. Then I told him how to do it. You tell him, you just put me at this main entrance of the ashrama. He will agree to that. He will agree to that. So 2-3 times he put it in the ashrama outside. Then he would go away. I said, once you say that you just come once for making pranam to the temple. So once he came. Then she brought him to me. And I did not talk anything. I just very lovingly gave him prasad, nothing else. I gave that poison. And that poison is poison. Prasad of Sri Ramakrishna, my God, so powerful. I just gave that prasad, that's all. And he had some great, he had never met a monk or least of all from Ramakrishna. So he had no idea. So when I lovingly gave him that prasad, some change took place. Just once he had come. I said, once let him come to the temple. Everything will be done by Sri Ramakrishna. And you go on praying to Sri Ramakrishna. It so happened that he himself came to me and said, I want to get rid of my habit of drinking. I want to get de-addiction. And there was a de-addiction program that we were doing at that time with the help of some organization. He went under that program. It so happened that when he was undergoing that program, he took a book. That book, Happiness and Peace in Everyday Life, is there. The Gujarati version already sold more than 1 lakh copies. So I gave a copy to him. He read that book and he got a lot of solace. And also that Kathamrita, he got a lot of solace. He took these 2 books, Kathamrita and my book, Gujarati version of the Happiness and Peace, with him to the de-addiction center. And all the other people, they became very much influenced, and they said that they wanted to read the same book. So all of them got this one, and he became a guru of all. See, they took upon that, you have brought this book and that has changed my life. His whole life has been changed. Not only that, he has become a guru. See the wonder of Sri Ramakrishna, the magic of the gospel. And then even now he is still there. He is still there. He is alive. His wife is alive. And he has become a great devotee. Others are taking inspiration from him. So likewise there are so many incidents connected with the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. What is the magic all about? What is the magic all about? Why it is so much of alluring? Why it is so much an impact? First of all, we must realize, never in the history of the world any incarnation of God had this type of speciality. Aldous Huxley, in his introduction to the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, says that the circumstance in which I am found in himself, he has produced a hagiography which is unparalleled, unique in the history of hagiography. Nowhere we have got such an author who would be presenting the views of the great incarnation without absolutely any sort of pollution, any sort of mixing up, in its original pristine form. Never. Not only that, the Christ message, it took 250 years after Christ was born that his message was being collected, after 250 years. Same thing with Buddha. After 250 years of Buddha's passing away, they started collecting the message, and then they produced the Gospels in Christianity. There are so many Gospels. That is why you find, 4 Gospels, and there are variations in the 4 Gospels. Why? Because they were written after 200 years. There are variations. Similarly, Buddha's, so many messages, Hinayana, Mahayana. Why? Because they are all messages that have come up only after 250 years. But the beauty of the Gospel is that the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna was produced on the very day. That is, the day in which Sri Ramakrishna spoke, that very day the Master Maharshi wrote down in his diary the same teachings. So you get, it is the most authentic record. There are 3 types of record, Master Maharshi says. 1, the record on the same day by the same person. 2nd, recorded by the same person directly who has heard after a long period of time, after some time. 3rd, second-hand record. I have not listened, somebody has listened, from him I have listened. So it becomes a second-hand, third-hand, fourth-hand. But first-hand record is the person I have listened and I have written. But even that is also very rare, where the person who listened to the message of the incarnation and they themselves wrote the message, that is very rare. And writing on the same day, it has never happened. But in this Kathamrita, this has happened. And the 10th president of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission, Swami Vireshwaranand, he asked this question to Master Maharshi. Master Maharshi, what is the matter? Why the gospel is so much appealing? And then Master Maharshi said, the secret. He said, whatever Sri Ramakrishna said, I wrote down on the same day in my diary. But that diary is in a very shorthand. You cannot make out anything. Then he said, on every scene, I meditated minimum 1,000 times. And when I meditated for 1,000 times on the scene, Sri Ramakrishna appeared before me. And in his presence, I have written the Kathamrita. So the credit does not go to me. It is because of the presence of Sri Ramakrishna. He appeared before me, and in his presence I have written now. So that is why it so much appeals. And then you feel as if Sri Ramakrishna is talking to you directly. That is why Christopher Risser would say, if I can use any one word for the gospel, it is the word now. N-O-W. And that is why Swami Vivekananda says, Socratic dialogues are played all over, but you are entirely hidden. And the dramatic part is so beautiful, everybody likes it here in the West, here or in the West. Why? Because it is untarnished by the mind of the author. As it is coming, you feel Sri Ramakrishna talking directly to you. The author does not come in between. And he creates the whole scene in a very picturesque manner, in such a beautiful manner that you feel Sri Ramakrishna is talking. And then the whole scene is created, where it is done, date, time, outside environment, what is the Ganges flowing in which direction, what type of moonlight, what type of trees, what is taking place everywhere. The whole background, the whole scene is created. You feel as if you are witnessing that event. That is the creation of Master Maharshi. And the authenticity, on the same very day, he wrote down the diary. And this magic, because of this magic of the gospel, so many people have got, thousands have got new life, thousands and many have been saved from committing suicide, many have got new spiritual life, many are getting new life, spiritual life, every day, many are getting many inspiration. And so many, Kavi Viralitam, many great people have eulogized this gospel. The first president, I told about Sharda Devi, I told about Swami Vivekananda. The first president of Ramakrishna Math and Mission, Swami Brahmanandji, once he told a devotee, come, I will tell you, I will give you Brahma Jnana only in one sentence. So the devotee was so much happy. He thought one sentence means Mahavakya. Mahavakya, you know, in Vedanta language there is Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, these are all Mahavakyas. So he came very near to Brahmanandji Maharaj to listen to the Mahavakya, because Mahavakya has to be given in ear, private. So he thought that Brahmanandji Maharaj will give me Brahma Jnana through Mahavakya. So Brahmanandji Maharaj said, I'll give you Brahma Jnana with only one sentence. And the devotee came very near and just to listen to the Mahavakya. Then Swami Brahmanandji, very slowly, he told in his ears, please read Kathamrita daily. That is the Mahavakya. That will give you Brahma Jnana. In one sentence, you get Brahma Jnana. What is that? Read Kathamrita daily. And many people, they are reading Kathamrita daily and they are getting Brahma Jnana. Directly or indirectly, they are getting the solace. So many have got advantage. Swami Shivanandaji Maharaj, the second president of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission, looking at pointing out his finger towards the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the volumes of Kathamrita. You know, as long as there is sun, there is moon, there are stars, there is the earth, till that time, these volumes will remain immortal, and they will speak of the great message of the Master. The Kathamrita is immortal, and so is the writer of the Kathamrita, Master Maharshi, is immortal. He has immortalized himself by writing these immortal books. That is what Swami Shivanandaji said. Swami Vijnanandaji, the fourth president of the Ramakrishna Math and Mission, he told Master Maharshi, I made an inquiry. After the inquiry, I found that 80% of the monks have come by reading Kathamrita. So, not only that householders are getting inspiration, but monks are getting inspiration. And many are having got the habit of reading Kathamrita. Another magic of the gospel is that one of the very senior monks, Swami Nirvananandji, Sujji Maharaj, he used to stay in Belumat. He used to say, I read Kathamrita daily, and so many times it has been finished, and whenever I am reading, I am getting some new meaning. This is the experience of many devotees also. Whenever you feel, you already read once, but afterwards when you read, you get a new meaning. Same Kathamrita, you are getting new meaning. So many have experienced like this. So many senior monks have experienced like this. So many devotees have experienced like this. The present president, Swami Atmasthanji Maharaj, he was at that time vice president when he came to Baroda. So as usual, we just after his dinner, we had some little fun. Then he said, now you go, I have to take my sleeping drug, so you go. I became very much astonished. Maharaj, when have you started sleeping drug? Because I thought, we never knew that he has to take drugs, sleeping drugs for taking. Oh, you don't know. Kathamrita is my sleeping drug. I will read that Kathamrita and then go to sleep. So that is his sleeping drug. Kathamrita. Read Kathamrita and then go to sleep. Even now also, even after becoming president, he ends his life. Even our vice president Maharaj, Smarnanandji, so many senior monks, they have got this routine. After Kathamrita, they will glide into sleep. Many of our ashramas have got this Kathamrita class. Weekly class is there, or every day evening there is some Kathamrita reading and all that. So that is the magic of the gospel. The Kathamrita is wonderful. It is giving solace to many thousands of people and all that. But this magic is there, but who is the magician behind? Who is the magician? So Master Masha used to say, when he was told, Master Masha, you have done wonderful. He said, nothing. And then he told, do you see the tram? In Kolkata there is tram. Trams are small trains, 2 or 3 bogies, going inside the city. Sometimes like local trains, but only 2-3 coaches, very slow. You can walk faster than the tram. It goes very slow. So he told, do you see the tram? This tram is moving. You feel that tram is moving, but it has got no power. As long as it is connected with that electrode to the electric wire, till the time it is moving. You remove the rod, it cannot move. Similarly, the power is not with the tram, the power is with that electric power. Similarly, I have not written anything. It is he who has inspired me to write. It is he who has done the whole thing. So he used to tell himself that I am just a humble instrument. And what happened? On 2nd June 1932, it was a day of Falhari Kali Puja. On that day, in the evening 7 p.m., Master Maharshi completed the proofreading of the 5th volume, the last volume of Kathamrita. As soon as he finished proofreading of the last volume of Kathamrita, within a minute he told, "Oh Mother, oh Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna, please take me in your lap." And that was over. He died within 1 minute. Within 1 minute of the final proofreading, he died. That means Sri Ramakrishna brought him to this earth only for this purpose. He was just an instrument. And when the show was over, the magician took back his instrument. The great magician Sri Ramakrishna, it is he who has produced the magic of the gospel. And that is why we are so fortunate. No other incarnation had this type of facility. Only with Ramakrishna we find Bhagavatam is there, Gita is there. Of course, for Sri Krishna's message, Ramchandra's message, they are all there. But stenographic record, the day on which Sri Ramakrishna spoke, an incarnation spoke in a stenographic style with all those rich details, only one incarnation, and that is Sri Ramakrishna. So how fortunate we are. Many are feeling that had we been born when Sri Ramakrishna was alive, how wonderful it would have been. Nothing. Hajara Mahasaya was also born that time. Hriday was also born like that time. And they could not take any advantage. So, but even today, many are taking benefit of Sri Ramakrishna's advent. How? Through the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Because his words are there, unpolluted, in this pristine form, in the form of the Kathamrita. So that magic is with us. We are very fortunate that we have got that magic, that magic of the Lord, the magician, that is in the form of the Kathamrita, the gospel. And the more we read, the more we shall derive benefit. Of course, outwardly it appears, some people say that, other books are very difficult, but gospel is very simple. But in fact, gospel is very difficult. If you go deeper into that, then you will find out how much meaning is there inside every sentence. But for that, the genius of Swami Vivekananda is needed. Once Swami Vivekananda told his brother disciples, the words of Sri Ramakrishna are so important and so powerful that even from one sentence, volumes can be written. The Dad was, no, Sri Ramakrishna's message is very, very simple. What do you say? He said, okay, you tell me one thing. Then they told, okay, you tell about the story of the elephant, Narayana and Mahavat Narayana. Then Swami Vivekananda started lecturing on that particular aspect for 3 days, for hours together. Then the brother said, now please stop. Enough. From there, the law of karma, the law of grace of God, and all those things, so many things came out, and he quoted the Western philosopher. What do they talk about? Whether there is a freedom of will or not, whether there is an independent will or not, and whether whether there is a grace of God or not, and what is the law of karma. So many things they were connected with that. Only one sentence. The brother disciples, we never thought about it. So in such depth. So in every sentence, there is so much of wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And another thing is that Sri Ramakrishna, whenever he is talking in a very direct language. Second, it is always full of illustrations and full of stories, witty stories. You don't get bored. And not only that, it is alive with the lively situations, modern man's lively situation. And his observations are so perfect and so minute observations of daily life. So these are all the rare things that we find in the gospel. So Sri Ramakrishna is unique, his words are unique, his gospel is unique. So the magician is Sri Ramakrishna and his magic is the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. The more we take these words of nectar, the more blessed we will. So at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sharda Devi, let us offer our salutations and let us hope and let us pray that we may derive the benefit from the reading of the Gospel. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.